Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we prepare for the 8th race of the season for the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar series. After 3 weeks of road course racing, we are finally back at an oval as we get ready to run finally at Iowa Speedway for the Corn 200. Seth Cole alongside of Samuel Dyer. And Sam, for all those guys that consider themselves really good at the ovals, they're breathing a sigh of relief right now.
Yeah, after 3 weeks of just road course action, we're finally back in an oval, but I don't think this is the oval they really want to be at. Iowa has been tricky with the new speed functions that have come in, with the new updates that iRacing has put in for these machines. This track is very tricky for these drivers.
Absolutely is. And also with the fact that these guys, they were supposed to run this back, I believe it was on March 26th, but that was the week that iRacing decided to put in the new aero screen for the IndyCar mod. And so these drivers are finally here after 4 weeks of not running at this racetrack. But we do have a little bit of a caveat here tonight because we were notified on Twitter earlier on today that Jason Brophy and Will Roberts, for every lap that they lead here tonight, that Fuel is going to be donating $1 to the COVID-19 relief efforts, and those two are starting first and third.
Yeah, they both were showing great pace during practice, both of them being the top drivers in practice, but up in second, splitting them up, it's going to be Matt Hollabaugh, who is someone who's excited to be back at an oval. Looked quick previously when we were at ovals, had a little bit of trouble at our road courses, but I'm excited to see if Jason Brophy and Will Roberts can lead as many laps as they can to help with that relief.
And of course, here tonight, everybody trying to see if they can break the streak of Nicholas Johnston, who has won the last 3 races, albeit all of them on road courses. But here tonight, you think he's going to be up at the front, but you don't think he's necessarily going to win this race. Why is that?
He's starting back at 14th. It's going to be a hard trek for him to get up to where these drivers are. He hasn't been running as quick as everyone else during practice and during qualifying. It's going to be a tough road, but I think if he can keep his car clean all race long and he's there at the end, he's definitely got a shot.
And of course, for Nicholas Johnston as well, he comes into this race with those 3 wins, not necessarily having to win here today, but just get a good points day, because right now he comes into this race with a 47-point gap between himself, Liam Quinn, and Andrew Wood, with Quinn and Wood tied for second in the standings. So as long as he remains consistent, he's going to be in pretty good shape here, especially for the entire remainder of the season, as we don't have that many races left to go.
No, we're running low on him. We're on race number 8 of 14, so we've only got a handful of races left. I gotta say, though, Andrew Wood, excited to be back on an oval, but I think Liam Quinn, who's always been our fuel guy to do a fuel strategy at some point during a race, he's someone else to watch out for.
And you also look at a couple of guys here that have been close to picking up a victory the last couple of weeks, and the one that kind of stands out to me is that 56 of Riley Thompson. He was close last time out at Road America. He was close the week before at Road Atlanta. He's been so close so many times. Maybe tonight's the night for the 56.
He's starting up front in the top 4, so it's good to see that he has shown that he's gonna have a fast car today. But he's had a fast car at all the tracks, it seems like. It's just been bad luck hitting his car almost every week.
I talked about drivers that probably are very glad to be back here at an oval, and I would look at Andrew Wood as one of those drivers. He won at Twin Ring Motegi to start out the season. Maybe this entire season, the closest track to Iowa. So maybe that'll give him a little bit of an advantage here tonight. We'll wait and see. As we're waiting for, looks like we're going to have another lap of pacing here behind the pace car. So as that happens, we got a couple of names that are here in the field that we haven't seen yet this season, including the 15 of Chad Frankenfield, the 97 of Richard Nash, the 69 of Jake Gaudet. You've also got the 6 of Philip Radajic. Going to be interesting to see how these guys, these new players, if they're going to be able to get up there to the front of the field, maybe play spoiler here tonight.
We actually watched Chad Frankenfield last week in a different league racing here at Iowa. He had a very fast machine there, car that actually won last week at that event. So he's going to be someone to watch out for as he's starting 8th as one of these newcomers.
And of course, Jason Brophy. I'm trying to remember which track it was at, and I want to say it was at Michigan. He was leading that race on the final lap, got hooked out of turn 2, so we know he's good at the speedways, and we'll see if maybe he can close the deal, as he's been very fast at the ovals here this season. But pace car peels left, gets ready to turn him loose. 200 laps here at Iowa, and we are green.
Jason Brophy going to get a fantastic start, at least two car lengths. But here's the thing, here these ovals, even if you get a great jump, the car behind you is going to catch you coming into turn number 3 just because of the draft. But all the cars now getting single file.
And we'll have to see if we can settle into a long green flag run. There's only 23 cars in the field here tonight, so if these guys can kind of mind their manners early on, keep the fenders
in the back,
on.
someone just spun it around, and that is going to be, I believe it's going to be Gonzalez.
And we had a caution further up as well. Chad Frankenfield just got wrecked by Liam Quinn. They're still wrecking back there. I think that's Kite Bommersbach that just went up into the wall.
This is what I was talking about, how this track is very tricky. These cars just want to snap loose, but I believe up front it was a little bit of close contact action.
There were at least 3 wrecks right there on that lap.
I know that I was hearing that a car actually was getting loose off of turn number 1 just on the first corner, so there were cars getting loose everywhere on track, and just danger everywhere.
Take a look and see first the incident with Eric Gonzalez. That was the first incident, and I'm not necessarily certain that was what brought out the caution. I think it was the Frankenfield incident that actually brought the yellow flag out, but there you see Gonzalez just in that middle groove. His car goes around.
Another machine that spun around, who was the first actual machine that spun off of turn number 2, was Jake Goddett.
See if we could see what happened with him. We're going to next look at the Chad Frankenfield incident, as I think he actually got up into the air going into turn 1. Battling at the time with Liam Quinn in the 4, and we'll see if the two of them make contact or not. Almost looked like Frankenfield got into the back of Quinn. Maybe Quinn checked up, and there you see the follow-up wreck. And that was Kite Bommersbach there in the 1, and I think that also might have been the 69 of Jake Goddett. I think 59 of Evan Adams, rather, was collected up in that one too.
Jake Goddett, after the caution, was about to come in and get some repairs, actually missed pit road and was sitting on the front stretch for a bit, realizing that he cannot turn around and had to just keep on going. So more issues for that 69 machine. You just hate to see it for these guys. It's only lap 1 and so many issues as Frankenfield. His race is probably over.
It's like the 77 of Ryan Heater has gone back behind the wall also. We're going to look here at the 1 of Kite Bommersbach, who comes into this race currently in the 5th position in points. And I don't know who it is that he makes contact with as they were trying to check up for the incident up ahead. You can see he gets run into the back of. And there is Goddett down the inside there as well. So we had about maybe 4 incidents there on those first 2 laps involving somewhere around 7-8 drivers.
Yeah, it's rough to see, as I believe Liam Quinn came in because of being rear-ended. He's going to be the last car that came in to get help on his car, as he's back in 16th. I mean, the one's positive from it is now you've got Jason Brophy up front, and with the challenge that they're doing to lead as many laps with Will Roberts, they're up front. They're leading laps.
Yeah, we're up to $6. And we should mention, too, that not only did Fuel come out with that challenge that however many laps Brophy or Will Roberts led, Jason Brophy then came on and said whatever the total is, he would match it. So Jason Brophy right now is costing himself some money.
It was kind of funny listening to the radio action with some of these drivers. Some of them were like, well, now do we want to race for the lead? I mean, it feels like we're stealing money for this relief fund, but I know for a fact all these drivers are going to be running as hard as they can, but it was just a funny thing to pop up for these drivers.
Well, you mentioned the fact that Chad Frankenfield could very well be out of this. Kite Bommersbach has already gone behind the wall. That's a driver. We mentioned top 5 in the standings. Ryan Heater is disconnected as well. And Richard Nash is also out. And it looks like Danny Roberts never even took the green flag. And that's actually a big uh, miss right there as well, because Danny came into this race 7th in the points.
I believe the one machine is still running out on track. So I think the only people that are really out of this is probably Chad Frankenfield. Everyone else, they might have a little bit of damage on their car, but they're still running.
Yep, you're right. The one car is still out there.
As the lights are out on the pace car, we're going to be going this time by. And, something to watch out for is how much of the draft is going to be important. And also, watching these cars, it's basically a 3-groove racetrack that we have here. Something to watch out for. Cars could be trying to go 3 wide.
Did all the carnage we saw in the first 2 laps kind of make these drivers kind of sit back and realize, hey, we got to settle in here and keep our cars in one piece, because there's still a long ways to go. As we go back green, the top 8 on this restart have not taken a checkered flag yet this season.
Jason Brophy getting an excellent start, as well as Will Roberts. It looks like Hollabaugh is going to be fading back just a little bit, but Roberts getting right on the back bumper of our leader.
Byron Daly there with Riley Thompson. They were battling for 4th. Philip Radajic right there as well, trying to get into this group, as looks like now the battle may be for 3rd, as Byron Daly up to that 2nd groove, as you talked about, trying to get a run on Matt Hollabaugh.
Byron Daly looking quick during those road course races, but just didn't have what it took to win them. But he's right here in the action in the top 5. He's just got to make sure this car survives, as we're not really seeing that many cars spinning out this time by keeping it clean, keeping the cars under him, which is good to see.
And the last Speedway race we had was Homestead Miami Speedway. Byron Daly finished top 5 there. I think he was 3rd in that race. So obviously he's just as good at the Speedways as he is at the road courses. And we kind of looked at him as a dark horse back at Road Atlanta and Road America for those races. And we'll see if he's going to be able to work his way up right now, trying to reel in the top 3 as Brophy continues to lead. And you got a couple of cars ducking to pit road. I think one of those was the 77 of Ryan Heater coming back, trying to get some more repairs done.
The other one was Kai Bommersbach, who missed pit road and actually is now slow on the apron. So those cars trying to get their car fixed up and showing that how difficult it is to get on pit road when it's on a green flag run.
See Will Roberts on that outside line trying to get a run there, trying to get some straightaway speed. And really, if you think about it here, even though Iowa's got those kind of short straightaways, that's really where you have to try and get the run to make a pass on somebody.
Yeah, they see that there's a really high line that works. We can get speed and also running down and below at the yellow line. Those are the 2 spots you're going to see maximum speed from. And usually it's the car that's running the high line that gets the run off the corner. But sometimes if you're able to just run low enough, get the apex just right, you're able to actually run faster running on the low side.
Now, obviously, Iowa is considered technically a short track, so we have to bring in the consideration based on the fact we had quite a number of torn-up race cars in the first few laps of this race. These leaders very shortly will end up probably encountering slower traffic.
They probably will be in the next couple of laps as cars are starting to spin off. I think that was one machine that actually spun on the front stretch. Couldn't tell who it was, but I'm watching a cluster of cars that are battling one another, and that's Andrew Wood, Galez, and Hurley that are all 3 of them right on one another.
Andrew Wood, who of course won the season opener, trying to gain as many points as he can on Nicholas Johnston. The bad news is Johnston's running 1 position ahead of him right now in the 8th position. And if Andrew Wood or Liam Quinn are going to get themselves back in this championship battle, based on the back-to-back-to-back wins that Nicholas Johnston had in the past 3 races, either Wood or Quinn, they're going to have to find victory lane at least once, maybe 2 more times here before the season's over.
Drop back to 12th, and you'll see Cowan Evans started 21st up to 12th, up 9 positions, and really he's showing that he's got some good speed. He was running quick in practice, just did not have the qualifying time that he wanted to have. And he actually wrecked during qualifying. That's why he qualified so far back. So he's going to be a machine. If he can keep clean, with the draft, he could be moving up and trying to go for a top 5 finish here.
Well, Cowan Evans actually had a good run going last time out at Road America. Finished in the 8th position there. And right now, as you mentioned, trying to hold off Liam Quinn, who we're not really seeing work his way up through the field right at the moment. Now, yes, he did have that contact with Chad Frankenfield back on the second lap of the race. I don't know if that might be affecting his speed in any way, shape, or form, but you kind of get the feeling, just based on what we saw him do at Homestead, Miami when he took that checkered flag, what we saw him do the week before at Michigan, that he might be in conservation mode, trying to save a little bit.
That he could be. Moving back up front, it's still Jason Brophy who's just running these laps, and based on the lap times that he's running and the cars that are in the back, he'll probably be catching lap traffic within the next 15 laps or so. So that's something to watch out for. Lap traffic could help the leader, but at the same time, it also could be very dangerous. We've seen times where being up front, a lap car could spin out in front of you and could give you quite a big scare.
You can see right there as we're inside the cockpit of the race leader, Jason Brophy. He's got maybe about a straightaway before he catches the first car. And you'll also notice, we've pointed it out week after week, these past 3 road course races, that it's all zeros down there in those boxes. That yellow box, third from the left, has a 0 because they do not use push to pass here at the ovals.
Yeah, it's not necessary to have the horsepower. You already have the draft. It's so powerful, and it's basically where you run on track on how fast you're going to be running. As one of the battles that's starting to heat up is the battle for third. Matt Hollabaugh is having Daly right on his back bumper.
Byron Daly trying to see if he can find a way around. You can see them run 2 entirely different lanes going into turns 1 and 2. Byron down low and Matt up on the top side. I also noticed too that we saw, a pretty close battle brewing for the lead, but all of a sudden Brophy has opened it up to a 2nd and 7/10 back to Will Roberts. So I almost wonder what might have happened to the 39.
Maybe just got a little loose somewhere during this action that we weren't watching. It's possible. I mean, these cars, the back ends just want to lose, just want to spin around when you're exiting off these corners. You really can't exit as hard as you want to. You have to go about quarter speed coming off. So those are things to watch out for. Also, a car that's drifting back quickly is Riley Thompson. I think he might have gotten to the wall or some issue, as it looks like he's heading to the pits.
Yes, he is. He's going to bring it down to the apron, and he's headed for pit lane. So, to your point, I think he probably brushed the wall at some point or something like that, because this pit stop obviously is unscheduled. And you saw just moments ago Byron Daly make the pass for third place around Matt Hollabaugh. I kind of think there was a little bit of give and take right there, though. I think maybe Hollabaugh may have lifted, gave him up the spot, but Byron Daly showing that outside line's got great momentum, and he was able to make the pass.
Yeah, he's been running some great pace and some pretty good times. Actually, Daly running one of the fastest laps of the leader cars right now, so it's good to see him putting down these quick laps.
And you can see that Brophy has now caught the tail end of the field and is going to try going to work on putting cars a lap down. I believe that is 69 of Jake Gaudett, who is already 1 lap down. That now puts him -2, and the further up Brophy gets through the field, the tougher it's going to be for him to make some passes.
Yeah, there's a cluster of cars battling for 10th place. You got about 4 cars all side by side trying to battle it out to get in that top 10 position. It's Cowan Evans now up to 10.
Brophy now trying to make a pass. I believe that is on the 59 of Evan Adams, and then the next car he would catch, believe it or not, is 12th place running Liam Quinn.
Liam Quinn all by himself, not having the draft is not helping him at all, and it just seems like he's off pace since that contact that he had with Chad Frankenfield, and that rear end damage might be still affecting that machine.
Yeah, you're right. It was actually the rear that Frankenfield hit. And with the way that these wings are made and everything at a track like Iowa, even though it's a short track, very aero dependent, especially on the straightaways and needing that downforce when you go into the corners. We'll see how much of a fight Liam Quinn's able to put up here on Jason Brophy, as Brophy now only about maybe 4 or 5 car lengths back behind the 4 machine.
Looking around, trying to find all the action that's going on track. Looks like the closest thing to it is probably the battle for 9th. It's Cowan Evans pulling a train of cars with him to go after Hugo Galez.
Saw there, I believe that was Philip Radijic, just actually got the wall off of 4. and he lost momentum. Nicholas Johnston has just now made the pass on him for 6th place. So Johnston, who started back in the, I think he said it was the 14th position, he has steadily worked his way up, now almost up into the top 5.
Up to the top 5, and actually I'm looking at the pace that he's running. It's almost just the same pace as the leaders, as he is trying to catch them the best that he can, but the next closest car in front of him is about 2 seconds, 3 seconds in front.
Boy, you were talking about this battle back here from 9th place on back, and there are a gaggle of cars, 5 of them all here, and the next car behind them is the race leader, Jason Brophy, so he better be on his toes if any contact is made in this group and someone ends up spinning.
And with our leader getting in here with the lap traffic, it's actually allowing Will Roberts just to gain a little bit. He just gained 2/10 on our leader since he's got up to this cluster of cars.
These drivers have been out there now for 41 laps, albeit they had that early caution to maybe be able to save a little bit. What's the fuel window we're looking at when we can expect to see these drivers hit pit road potentially for green flag pit stops?
The fuel window is looking around 60 to 70 laps, so about a 2 pit stop race. With that caution that they had, it might be able to save up at least a lap, maybe 2. So I'm expecting these drivers that haven't pitted yet to come in around lap 60, 63 at the start. And you might be seeing some other competitors trying to push it to 70 or even further than that.
Just up ahead of race leader Jason Brophy, you've got Hugo Galez, Mike Hurley, and Eric Gonzalez, and all 3 of those cars are running entirely different lanes into the corner, so Brophy's almost kind of got a wall of cars in front of him every time he goes into turn 1 or turn 3.
Yeah, but he's starting to make the move here on Galez, and he's going to be taking the inside line, and Galez easily giving it away. These cars are very respectful to the leaders. They have been all season long, and it's good to see it still continuing here at Iowa.
And with the pace that Jason Brophy is setting right now, you almost wonder how many cars are going to be on the lead lap at the conclusion of this race. Right now, we're down to 11, and we got 2 more just up ahead of the 88.
Just looking at cars that might have had an issue. Byron Daly dropping back. He was up there battling for 3rd, dropped all the way down to 8th, and now is trying to climb his way through as he's getting past Andrew Wood now.
And another driver with early issues. We saw Riley Thompson coming to pit road for an unscheduled stop. He has taken his car behind the wall, so tough break there for the driver of the 56, who we kind of thought maybe since we were at a speedway, an oval, maybe he'd be able to finally find victory lane, but looks like that is not going to be the case.
That's okay. Brommersbach is in the pits. He's trying to deal with issues. Brent Jones still in the pits. Chad Frankenfield still trying to get his stuff repaired. Also, Evan Adams in the pits trying to get his car repaired. So all those cars, it's a shame to see where they're at right now. Hopefully they get their machines going and get as many positions as they can.
And another thing, too, that we were notified about last week is the fact that very shortly we are going to be having double points on the line here for these drivers. So it's getting down to the end of the time when these guys are going to be able to make up points just singularly in one race. And really, with double points coming up on the horizon, you want to gain as many positions in the standings as you can. And I'm looking at a lot of these guys that are struggling that came into this race inside the top 10 in points. Danny Roberts, he came into this race, I believe it was 6th in points. Riley Thompson was 4th. Kite Bommersbach in 5th. So I'm looking at someone like Will Roberts, who came in 8th in the standings, running in that 2nd position. He could pick up a lot of positions in the standings if he can keep it where he is.
Yeah, you'd think that, but our points leader is up to 5th already. And, you know, with cars having issues left and right, it's allowed him to come up to 5th and still trying to catch up to Roberto Munoz.
Right now, nobody around points leader Nicholas Johnston. Just trying to keep that car in one piece. Of course, as we said, big picture racing, realizing that the more consistent runs he gets, the more points he gains over 2nd place. As Brophy continues to go to work, he's lapped Mike Hurley, he's lapped Hugo Galez, he's now going to work on Eric Gonzalez in the 42 machine, and then he's got Andrew Wood in the 32 and Cowan Evans in the 17, a couple of guys that have been pretty much mainstays in the top 10 week after week, up next on his hit list.
You know, something we were talking about before the broadcast went live was, maybe Brophy and Will Roberts were had a plan in mind when they threw out this challenge for themselves, because they have been so dominant so far this race. But you know who's catching up to Brophy right now? It's going to be Will Roberts. He is right there on Brophy.
Yes, he is. And I almost wonder if part of the reason might be because we saw Will Roberts early on using that higher groove. It's been easier for him to make the pass on the slower traffic than it has for Brophy getting pinned down on that inside line.
You would think that, but right now he has a car right in front of him that's running the high side.
See if he can make quick work and actually drive it down to the inside in turn 3. Will Roberts. Not going to make the pass there, so that's going to lose him a little bit of time to Brophy, who for the moment enjoys a little bit of clean racetrack as he's just got one car to deal with here in Cowan Evans. And if Cowan goes a lap down, that's going to be only 7 cars still on the lead lap, and we're only a quarter of the way through this race.
First car coming in during these pit stop, it's going to be Andrew Wood. He's going to be coming in now, so we got to start watching out for machines that are coming in for the pits.
And you've stressed, the last couple of road course races that with the tire model that the IndyCars have, that fresh rubber isn't necessarily as important as it would be in a normal stock car race. But here at a track where you're braking quite a bit into these corners, do you think that would make a bit of a difference?
Yeah, I think this is one of the few tracks that we've had this season that tire wear actually is a thing. After the first 25 laps or so on these tires, it starts to fade. You start to move up just a little bit more than you were before. You might be tightening up, and these cars just want to slide on you sometimes. So the tire wear, it is important. You want to have the freshest rubber you can with these machines, and I think right now Andrew Wood trying to run his best laps he can after coming to the pits.
But also you run the risk here of going multiple laps down with it being such a short track. Right now, Andrew Wood, yes, he's out there on fresh tires, but he is -3 to race leader Jason Brophy. So the last thing he needs to see before these pit stops cycle around is a caution flag.
Right now, running up front, still Jason Brophy, and right now Brophy's just pulling away from Will Roberts because Will Roberts is still stuck with all that traffic that Brophy just got all by.
Yeah, with that clean racetrack that Brophy has, he has opened the distance now to 3.5 seconds back to Will Roberts. But the challenge that he and Will Roberts put out right now, as things stand, we are up over $120 that are going to end up getting donated to the COVID-19 relief efforts. So if Brophy leads every lap of this race, that's going to be $400 donated. So that's pretty cool.
And it's all towards a good cause. I mean, it's awesome to see that they put out this challenge. Yes, we're in the middle of the season. All points matter. But also, it's just good to see that these guys are trying to put on this charity work because they are.
As Brophy continues to show the way here, you kind of wonder, with Andrew Wood being the first car to hit pit lane there, short pitting, if you're Brophy and you're enjoying this type of a lead, do you consider being one of the last drivers to come to pit road, or do you try and maybe short pit yourself and catch everybody that's trying to chase you down off guard?
I think you just try to push it as far as you can. But Liam Quinn going to be one of the few cars coming in who is a lap down. So this is around the marker that I was talking about, that 62 to about 72 lap marker. And we're going to be seeing cars coming into the pits.
Well, Liam Quinn was one of the guys we had pegged as maybe one of those that would do some fuel strategy and stay out the longest, but not the case here, as he's the second car to come to pit road. He was already a lap down to race leader Jason Brophy, who is about to encounter a little bit more traffic here momentarily. He's got a couple of cars on the same straightaway as he is.
Yeah, and honestly, those cars are going to be the same straightaway. It's got to be interesting to see how he wants to interact with these cars, if he catches them or not.
Yeah, one of them looks like a lap machine. And then the next car would be 7th place running Philip Radicic, who's now hitting pit road.
Radicic's going to be coming into pit road on lap 68 for him, but it's going to be 70 for our leader, who seems to be lapping everyone down, as that is now going to be, I believe... Oh, caution's out! Oh, no.
And that is going to leave us, at least for the moment, with only 6 cars on the lead lap. Cowan Evans is actually scored the first car 1 lap down, would get the free pass. However, well, actually, you know who this might be a big break for? And that might be the 6 of Philip Radicic, because I think he is only 1 lap down. They could probably service that car since he was on pit road before that caution came out, and he'd be able to take the wave around, but I think he's the only one.
He just came in. Another car that we got Andrew Wood who's coming in. Man, that it's got to be close to see where everyone stands after this caution, as I believe the car that spun out is going to be Andrew Wood.
And that was a car that was out there on fresh tires, had just pitted not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, even with fresh tires, it's still going to be hard. These tires are going to be cold, and this track, with how slick it can be coming off of the corner, it's going to be difficult with your first couple of laps with fresh rubber.
Oh, wow. He had actually quite an adventure there. This was coming out of turn 4. Car's going to get loose on him. He may have brushed the wall off of 4. He goes down through the infield grass. And then he tries to bring it back up onto the racetrack here into turns 1 and 2. And I believe the car is going to loop around on him again. Slides up the track, almost collects 2-3 drivers there. So that was a spin that started over in turn 4 and ended over in turn 1.
It was just a wild ride for sure. I mean, he went through the grass, came back up, and the apron to track surface in the corner is what really ate his car up. Luckily, he didn't really hit much, but it's still a wild ride and losing a lot of time.
I almost wonder about maybe the front end of the car, because we saw that the car jumped up into the air. And I would hope that the nose of the car didn't dig down into that infield grass.
Just based on how long he's in the pits, he could have done some heavy damage on that 32 machine of Andrew Wood, as he's been in there for over 2.5 minutes. So it's not... honestly, I think what you said with his car jumping and hitting, I think it might have caused way more damage than we expected.
So it would appear that Philip Radicic is actually not going to be eligible for a wave around. He is now 2 laps down, so the timing of that caution actually did not help him. Jason Brophy, Will Roberts, Matt Hollabaugh, Rodrigo Munoz, Nicholas Johnston, and Byron Daly were the only cars on the lead lap when that yellow flag came out. And Cowan Evans, as we mentioned, was the first car 1 lap down in the 7th position. He would be the recipient of the free pass. So when we eventually do get back green flag racing, we've still got more than half of this race to go and only 7 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's a wild statement to say. We've only got 7 cars. You really don't... I mean, with these green flag runs, you'd expect some cars to get a lap down, but man, we almost saw most of the field become a lap down there.
Waiting for the lights to go out atop the pace car so we can finally go back green. And something I'd be a little bit worried about here is the fact we saw Andrew Wood have the struggles he did on fresh tires. And we know what happened at the initial start of this race. So, you know, they did a good job on the first restart of getting themselves all lined up, waiting for the tires to warm up and not spinning out or wrecking each other. But now as we start getting closer and closer to the second half of this race, there's going to probably be more take and less give. And I'd be a little bit worried about the grip that's under them with the fresh tires under them.
Yeah, the grip under these machines is the one thing you got to worry about with the first 2 laps of this restart here. You just got to be worried that if they do restart, and we've seen that Brophy's been looking solid, Will Roberts has been looking solid, but we saw so many cars spinning out off of turn 1, off of turn 4. You just got to be patient and careful when you're racing on this restart here.
And we'll have to see about Will Roberts, because remember, before the top 2 started encountering traffic, Will Roberts was hanging pretty tough there with Jason Brophy. Now that there's going to be no traffic ahead of him and clean racetrack for the next few laps here, we'll see if Will Roberts has anything for the 88.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder, did Will Roberts use up too much of his tires, and that's why he faded back as much as he did? And maybe this time around he's going to try to save his tires as the pace car is going to be pulling off.
Going to be going green with 125 laps remaining here at Iowa. Brophy accelerates, doesn't really get away from Will Roberts, so we'll see what Roberts can do utilizing the draft when he gets to him off turn 2.
One thing with these restarts with cars all lined up single file is the third place usually does not get the run that they want. They can't tell when the leader's going to take off, and that's why Hollabah's not be able to just stick with these front two.
Will Roberts immediately goes up to that third groove and does so again here in 1 and 2, trying to reel in Jason Brophy. And in terms of tire wears, we got a battle back there for the 5th position between Nicholas Johnston and Byron Daly. And, you know, if you're Will Roberts and you're Jason Brophy, one run in the inside, run one in the outside, which lane do you think is the better one as far as saving tires?
I would imagine running on the low side is the best way to save your tires. It's not as much stress on your front rights as much as staying right on the bottom. So with Will Roberts running the high side, running the middle line, not as low as Brophy, he's probably using up more of his tires here.
So right there, Byron Daly, outside line prevails. He holds off Nicholas Johnston for the moment. Nicholas Johnston looks in his rearview mirror, and I believe that is the 42 of Eric Gonzalez. I thought that they do free pass positions in this league. However, Cowan Evans is still 1 lap down, so maybe there is no free pass in this league.
Right now, Cowan, yep, there isn't a free pass. And I think, I'm looking. Yeah, I think that there wasn't a free pass there for Cowan Evans.
Yeah.
Which is just interesting to see as watching these machines run. We've only got 6 machines on the lead lap. And I think this really helped Nicholas Johnston, if anything. He's able to group up with everyone, not as far back as he once was. It was going to be one of the next cars to get a lap down. So having this caution, having the restart, he's closer with a lot of machines that he can get positions with. But up front, we still got Will Roberts trying to stick with Brophy, but Brophy's kind of just pulling away.
Unscheduled stop for Philip Rattata in the 6, his first start of the season. And looks like he has taken his car behind the wall. So it looks like he will finish in potentially the 16th position, maybe 15th, depending on if the 59 of Evan Adams gets back out there and completes a couple more laps. Andrew Wood, who brought out the last caution, right now is running 6 laps down, but he is in the 15th position, and if he can stay out there for a couple more circuits, he will pass Philip Rattata for 14th. So right now, Andrew Wood, just out there trying to get every position and every point he can before the conclusion of this race.
Right now, I'm watching to see what happened to the 6th machine, to see if there was any contact that made him have to pull in. It looks like he could have gotten some wing damage after a little bit of contact and just drove his car into the pits.
That's one thing I've seen here tonight that we really haven't seen in a lot of their speedways is cars sliding up into the wall off the corner, especially off of turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, if they are going to be sliding, they'll be sliding into the infield instead of into the wall.
3 cars here lined up nose to tail. Rodrigo Munoz, a great run for him here tonight. Running in that 4th position, trying to hold off Byron Daly there in the 0-6. And right behind them, points leader Nicholas Johnston. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th right now, all within about 0.7 of a second.
So, you know, all the cars that are at least 1 lap down are hoping for a caution of some sort to just enable them to have a chance to get back into this thing. As Andrew Wood is going to be going a lap down to our leader. We're going to be going another lap down, I should say.
Okay, talk about the drivers that are a lap down. Right now, Eric Gonzalez pretty firmly in control of the 7th position, first car 1 lap down. Behind him, about 1.7 seconds back, is where you've got maybe a battle for that 2nd position of the cars 1 lap down. Cowan Evans and Mike Hurley. Actually, it was close, and then all of a sudden, Mike Hurley might have had a little bit of a slip up as he now drops back. Right now in the 9th position for the 33.
All these cars trying to just do the best they can after being a lap down. It's so difficult with these machines. The leader is just so much faster, Jason Brophy, compared to everyone else. As watching a battle here for fourth starting to brew up. Daly's just slowly chipping his way, trying to get back up to third where he once was. I think he had an issue where he got slid up, got a little loose, lost a whole bunch of time, dropped all the way back to about 8th, and now has been slowly trying to work his way back up to the front. And as he is chasing down Munoz, he's also got Johnston right in his rear bumper.
And if you think about the timing of that second caution, I mean, so many drivers getting trapped off the lead lap. We already know, obviously, Andrew Wood, he was the one that brought out the caution, but you got guys like Hugo Galaz, you've got Liam Quinn, drivers that decided to do some short pitting to try and gain some track position, but that caution completely knocked that strategy out of the water. And so I'm looking at guys up here like Halabaugh, Munoz, Daly, Johnston. I mean, we're about 45, maybe 50 laps away from what would be the next round of green flag pit stops. And with the timing of that caution the last time, almost makes me wonder if it would cause some of these drivers to second guess short pitting strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky to want a short pit because the caution came out around the time that some of these guys were thinking about coming to the pits already. So I think you just stick with the pit strategy that you already had in mind. If you're thinking about pushing it, keep pushing it as far as you can. And if you're thinking about short pitting on this next lap, it's going to be tough because I cannot see how someone's going to short pit on this next one. You got to just push your car as much as you can. So at the end of this race, you have the lightest car you can possibly have.
I definitely agree with you on that. And at the same time, you want your car to be light, but at the same time, you got to keep that car from getting too light and spinning out on you, as we saw happen with Andrew Wood on fresh tires on that last round of pit stops. This battle for the 5th position has been pretty good, and this actually was going on between these two back before that last yellow flag also. Byron Daly, Nicholas Johnston still side by side. Byron Daly will not give up the top line, though, and that's been helping him with corner exit to hold Johnston off on the straightaways.
You got to wonder, though, with how many laps they've been running on these tires, when is it going to fade out, or is the top line going to continue staying as strong as it is with the rest of this tire run? And I got to wonder, though, is Johnston going to be trying to push as hard as he can at this moment, or is he going to start trying to push his car as much as he can once we get to the next pit stop?
I mean, as things stand right now, based on us being halfway through this race, the field is spread out. There is a chance that we could have another caution, but even if there is, I mean, at this point in time, furthest back that Nicholas Johnston can finish would be last car on the lead lap, which is 6th. So I don't think he necessarily has to. And that changes everything I was just going to say. I was going to say I don't think he has to push it that hard because he's accumulating a lot of points over Liam Quinn and Andrew Wood, who are both off the lead lap, who were his two closest competitors in the standings.
It's going to be Justin Miller coming off of turn number 2. Just got into a little, I think he might have touched whoever. I think that was, what car was that he touched? Hold on. I think he got in contact with the white and black machine of Mike Hurley.
Miller running in his first race here tonight. And we'll see what happened with him. Mike Hurley was running one lap down in 9th. Miller was running 13th, multiple laps down, and like maybe a little neck code there, but there definitely was some contact.
Yeah, that was some net code. I don't know if it was because Miller just was trying to pull his car away from, realizing how close he was, and no, I think that was some net code with the way his car just reacted.
We'll get a good view here on board with Justin Miller. And you can see right there, you couldn't visibly see contact, but these cars kind of have a little bit of a hitbox. And if you just hit that area just right, it's going to make contact between the two cars and hard impact there into the inside wall. The whole front wing on Justin Miller's machine is gone.
The leaders, as we were looking at that review, have all come into the pits. They're still going to have to make one more stop, but here's the question. Do you push it as far as you can, or do you short pit?
I think the answer is you got to push it as far as you can. Just the type of track we're at, it's a short track. We saw when drivers tried short pitting, even before the caution came out, they were 2 laps down to the race leader. I don't think you can afford, being trapped off the lead lap and having a late caution come out. You just cannot afford that if you're somebody up here like Roberts, Hollabaugh, Daly, Johnston, Munoz. You have to keep yourself on the lead lap. You have to make sure that you keep yourself in the hunt. And I think the only way to do that is if you keep yourself out there the longest you can go and come to pit road. And if necessary, come to pit road when that caution comes out, rather than be on pit road, lose the lap, and then have the yellow come out and have no chance of recovery.
Okay, so by the time that these drivers have to pit again, it's going to be around a lap. I think we're going to have about 25 laps in the race. That's the furthest I think they can push their cars if we don't have a caution. So it's going to be close for these guys. No one can save enough fuel to push their car all the way to the end from here. But someone could come in and do a splash and then just try to outrun someone by saving fuel. Just little strategies you can throw out. I mean, you never know. Someone might come in, put on four tires, full tank with 70 laps to go, and just try to maximize their race as much as possible. You'll have the shortest pit stop you can have, and then just go. Or you can push it all the way to lap 25. This is if we stay green. Pit then, and then try to make it to the end with a lesser, just no fuel. I mean, take some fuel and no tires, or you just take your tires and just a splash of fuel.
Well, we got some strategy going on here right now as well. Eric Gonzalez in the 42 is going to get back on the lead lap, and you see as well, that is Liam Quinn just ahead of race leader Jason Brophy. He is currently trying to get one of his 2 laps back, so if he can get this lap back, get himself a quick caution, and maybe get himself up there into the free pass position, Liam Quinn could be back on the lead lap after getting trapped 2 laps down with the timing of our second caution of the day.
Gonzalez and Quinn both going to be running with, well, Quinn's going to have over 40 laps older tires, and Gonzalez is going to have about 35 older tires than everyone else on track. So they're going to be running much slower than everyone else, but at least Gonzalez is on the lead lap. But if we go green, for how long will he be on the lead lap?
Justin Miller has taken his car back behind the wall, and someone that's going to utilize that to their benefit is Andrew Wood, who right now is 14th, and in 2 laps will have moved up into the 13th position. And, we talked about all these drivers that were kind of the new names here in the field. Only one of them remain, and that is 12th place running Jake Gaudet in the 69 machine. And so, he may be 3 laps down, but if he can at least make it to the checkered flag, that'll be pretty good for him here in his debut, as we are back green. And I'm a little confused here.
Whoa! Will Roberts spins it around.
And he's going to collect Byron Daly.
Byron Daly trying to make the move on Hollabaugh, but had nowhere to go. And I don't believe anyone else was involved in that accident.
I don't think
so. Andrew Wood was closely having contact, but luckily Roberts decided to take his car behind the wall and take a tow. But those newer tires, the slickness, we talked about it before they went green. It's dangerous, and we saw right there his second place spins it around and takes out third place at the time, Daly.
And you know what I find so surprising too? Well, look here when we see on the replay as well. On the last couple of restarts, Will Roberts went to the top side on the restarts. This time he tried the bottom and found absolutely no grip.
I mean, also something to watch out for with the Will Roberts incident is, did he touch the apron when he went down below?
I mean, the car was already out of shape before he even got down to the apron.
Oh yeah, he lost it just entering the corner. He was already sideways, so he might have just entered too much, put too much wheel into it, and his car just spun it around. Not the day Will Roberts wanted to see, as he was running in the top 2 all race long. Now you got a question, does anyone else have anything for Jason Brophy, or is he going to run away with this thing?
Yeah, I mean, he was already, had a pretty good distance over Will Roberts on the last green flag run. Byron Daly was laying down some pretty good lap times, but now he's sitting on pit road damage, so I don't know. And you can see right here, with Byron Daly nowhere to go, that was drivers running second and fourth on that restart at the time.
The person who is enjoying that caution, though, is going to be Eric Gonzalez, who was on 35-year-old, much older tires than everyone else. With that caution, he's going to stay in the lead. He's going to be staying in the green, lead pack with everyone else, and he's going to have fresher tires than everyone else.
And I believe that Cowan Evans is officially going to be the free pass car this time. Another driver that kind of helped out as well, even though it doesn't get him back on the lead lap yet, but that is Liam Quinn, who was able to get one of his laps back with the wave around. Now he is -1. He's able to come to pit road, get some fresh tires, and right now the only other driver that he would be battling when we go back green for the free pass position, if Cowan Evans is indeed getting back on the lead lap, would be the 33 of Mike Hurley, because Quinn and Hurley are the only two that are currently scored -1.
All these guys are hoping, I think we got Hurley and Quinn both going to be hoping for another caution, but hopefully they're not involved in it so they can get their lap back. While up front, you now only have 5 machines that are going to be on the lead lap, possibly a chance of 6. But man, how the tables have turned. How many cars are going to survive in the lead pack under this rest of this race with how many wrecks we're having?
And it makes me worried still, even for these guys up here like Brophy and Hollabaugh, who have been running up inside the top 5 all night long, because we just saw 2nd and 4th place gone just like that. And 2 of the guys that were putting down just as fast lap times as Jason Brophy, who up to this point has dominated this race.
I don't know if there's anyone out here that really can. I mean, Hollabaugh, I think his main issue is that he hasn't been getting the restarts that he's been needing to get off the start here. Starting in 3rd, it's the most difficult place to restart at. Now he'll be in 2nd, be able to maybe get a better restart than what he was getting. And then we might be able to see if he has anything for our leader, but it's going to be hard to see.
And another driver that this definitely benefits is Nicholas Johnston, who was back in the 5th position on that restart. He's going to restart in 4th, and 2 drivers he's not going to have to deal with out of this race, Will Roberts and Byron Daly. So as they continue to fall, Johnston continues to move up and continues to grow his points lead.
Andrew Wood, who's 7 laps down, he's able to if he's able to just continue running these laps, he'll be getting 2 more positions, and he's 7 laps down, but he might be able to get a top 10 finish with the way things have been going.
And right now, as the lights are out atop the pace car, it does not look like Cowan Evans is getting the free pass. So I'm a little confused about how this is working, because Eric Gonzalez got the free pass the last time, I believe. Oh no, he took a wave around, so I guess there are no lucky dogs here tonight.
Looks like there isn't, but restarting up front's gonna be Jason Brophy, leading the pack like he's been doing all race long. He's got a new car following from behind. That's gonna be Matt Hollabaugh, who's gonna be running the middle line, trying to get as close as he can to this 88 machine.
Yeah, Brophy's been doing a good job turning good lap times, but keeping his car down, almost glued to that yellow line through 3 and 4. He runs about a groove higher there through 1 and 2. So he has been doing an excellent job of taking the shorter way around the track, but at the same time continuing to turn fast lap times, not really having his laps fall off. And that's what's been allowing him to distance himself back to whoever is running in 2nd place, which at the time right now is Hollabaugh.
Next closest of cars interacting with one another would be Eric Gonzalez and Cowan Evans. It's not for position. I take it back. Actually, the close battle is going to be for 3rd with Roberto Munoz and Nicholas Johnston, with Johnston coming right on the back bumper of the 09.
Yeah, how about Munoz here tonight? Great run right now, in line for to be his best finish of the season, as he's under fire from Nicholas Johnston, but looks like he for the time being, is going to be up here inside of the top 5 here in the finishing results. A great performance for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually around the 5th to 6th to 7th range of cars when it comes to these races. And sometimes he's had some bad luck with some cautions here and there with accidents he's been involved in. And sometimes he's shown pace, just not really the races he's been looking for.
As we say, every position is a point and every point matters. Well, you're looking right here at 3 drivers that are battling for 6th, but they are all 1 lap down. Cowan Evans in the 17, Mike Hurley right behind him in the 33, Liam Quinn there in the 4. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th, all in their own little battle, while the top 5 try and battle potentially for this race win.
Nicholas Johnston thought he was going to be making the move on Munoz, just wasn't able to, got a little loose, and now is fading back.
Yeah, we've seen Nicholas Johnston try and make the pass on quite a number of drivers here tonight, utilizing that inside line, but he just can't seem to get the power down on exit. Whoever's to his outside is able to pull away. Saw it happen with Byron Daly a couple of times, and now Rodrigo Munoz able to use the outside line to hold the 28 car off. But again, to your point, maybe, just maybe, not pushing it as much as he normally would, knowing that right now he's just in a good position ahead of guys like Liam Quinn and Andrew Wood and going to gain more points going into next week.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a good day. He's been surviving, started 14th, and Nicholas Johnston now up to 4th, getting 10 positions. A solid day for himself. Another car that's been having a very solid day, Cowan Evans. He's in 6th. Yes, he's a lap down, but compared to starting 21st, last in the field, moving up to 6th, an amazing run for him. And, Cowan Evans, just he wrecked during qualifying, had great pace during practice. I think if he just qualified better, he could have been up there battling for the lead with these guys. It's just unlucky that he didn't have such a poor qualifying.
Well, and also, if we kind of looked at a grid of where he's been at in this race, it would kind of look like 2 mountain peaks, because you mentioned he started near the rear of the field, had worked his way up inside of the top 10, was one of the first drivers to come to pit road when we began that first round of pit stop cycles, but the timing of that caution put him, I think it was 2 or 3 laps down. He's been able to battle back to -1, and right now the highest running of those lap down cars in 6th place. So I think we could say that he's actually battled back twice here tonight so far.
Right now we've got a total of 11 machines running out there, trying to put on a best show as they can. A battle for position, though, is going to be a battle for 7th. He's got Mike Hurley having Liam Quinn right behind him. Liam Quinn not having the speed that he had during practice and qualifying after being rear-ended by Chad Frankenfield earlier on in the race. And so now he's just trying to get the best finishes he can, battling for 7th, and Cowan Evans pulling away from those 2.
And as things stand right now, with Liam Quinn where he's at in 8th position, Andrew Wood in 11th, looks like with the early departure of Riley Thompson, Danny Roberts not able to start this race, Kite Bommersbach out of the race, looks like Liam Quinn will be heading into next week in control of 2nd in the standings. And speaking of next week, we ended up having back-to-back road course stops. Now we've got quite a streak of speedways that we're going to. We're here at Iowa tonight. Next week we go to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then we start to get ready for the Indianapolis race weekends when we run the Indianapolis road course. We have the Indy 500 qualifying that's going to be going on. Then, of course, the third Fuel Indianapolis 500. So a lot of speedway racing on the horizon for these drivers.
Yeah, next week's going to be a fun one at Vegas. I think I'm expecting the draft to be a key. It's just going to be a fun race to watch. I know sometimes that race can get a little, can lull someone because of sometimes it just is a slower track. But it's going to be fun to watch these guys racing in another speedway. This short track racing, it's been fun to watch. It's been eating up a lot of cars though, and that's why we're down to only 11. But I'm watching right now a battle that's on track for 3rd. Johnston caught back to Munoz, and they are battling side by side.
Johnston still trying to get that inside line working. Munoz going to hold down the top side and still hang on to the position for the moment. Looks like Nicholas Johnston's really good on entry through the center, but it's on the corner exit that he loses the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, the outside is always going to win that, as Nicholas Johnston almost got a fantastic run there. He's able just to get right in the bumper, but yeah, he's not able to get the runoff. There's just a car right in his way where he just wants to run the car up to the wall, and he's not losing momentum that way.
If he's going to make the pass here on Munoz, he has to be almost exactly side by side with him going into whether it be the entrance of turn 1 or the entrance of turn 3. That way he can maybe be able to clear by the center of the corner, but the most he's been able to do is be alongside the left rear quarter panel coming off of the turns.
Little update on our leader. He is still pulling away from Matt Halaba. That is Jason Brophy, and I think Brophy is excited to see the day that he's been having, leading every single lap to this point. And it's just going to a good cause, is Brophy leading every lap. Will Roberts was also involved. All the laps that they led was going to be going to the relief funds for the COVID-19.
And of course, Brophy also might have had a little bit of a feeling coming in here to Iowa, because he also said that whatever laps either he or Will Roberts led, he was going to match that total. And we are getting close to $280. If he dominates the completion of this race, I don't think anybody else has led a lap tonight. So if he leads all 200, that's $400 that's going to the COVID-19 relief fund.
It's amazing to see that these guys are trying to do charity work while racing in the middle of this season, as we're only on race number 8 here at Iowa and out of 14 races to go. And was it that this race is our single, last time we're getting our single points until we start to double it up?
I believe so, yeah.
So points race, yes, it looks like Johnston might be pulling away with the points, but it easily could be pulled right back in with some good races after this one, as Johnston's still running in the top 5, just looking as consistent as he has been all season long.
And that makes me think here too, with this being the final race with single points, Brophy comes into this race 13th in the standings, 129 points back. And while that seems like an insurmountable amount to try and come back from, there's still, quite a number of races to finish out the year at Las Vegas, Indianapolis Road Course, Milwaukee Mile, Watkins Glen, Chicago, which is our season finale. So with double points, if Brophy can keep this up, if he can find a couple more checkered flags before season's end, it is possible to come back from a 129-point deficit. Really, a lot of it depends, though, on, the kind of luck he has, how many wins he picks up, and where Nicholas Johnston finishes in those races.
Yeah, that's really the matter of where Nicholas Johnston finishes this. That's really where it matters, as it looks like Johnston's going to be, not Johnston, Brophy, our leader of this race, is going to be passing Andrew Wood again. That's something to watch out for. Our leader could be coming up to lap traffic here in the next about 10 to 15 laps.
Well, he's got about 4.5 seconds back to Matt Halaba, so with having that bit of a cushion, he can kind of pick and choose where he wants to make passes on cars, and may not have as much of a sense of urgency as he would if Halaba were up there less than a second behind him, or even a second and a half.
Battle for 7th. Finally, looks like Liam Quinn finally got past Mike Hurley, but Hurley battling back.
Crosses over Liam Quinn. We'll see if he can...
Oh, there goes Hurley.
And he's going to spin it, and is it going to bring out a caution is the question. He's in the infield grass. He's not up on the racing surface yet. Keeps it straight as he does bring it up. Doesn't even actually go up above the yellow line. We are still green.
Yeah, due to iRacing, if you spin out under the racing surface, it will not count as a caution. That's why we didn't see one there. But Hurley luckily didn't hit anything, but we've seen that with Andrew Wood's machine, if you hit the grass and your car bounces, it's going to take a lot of damage on your car.
I almost wonder if everybody up here on the lead lap would have loved to have seen a caution come out there, because that yellow would have put us within the window to make it the rest of the way. They'd have been able to make a pit stop under caution. As things are right now, they're still about 30 laps away from making a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, we are in the window where you can come in at any point. The risk is if you come in before the leader and go a lap down or 2 laps down, there's a chance that that leader is going to keep that. You've got to make sure you don't come get a lap down, but that's the risk of these green flag pit stops.
Andrew Wood in the 32 was awfully slow coming off of turn 4. I don't know if he was just getting out of the way of the leaders or not. You can clearly see that car is not up to speed. as there's another driver there trying to reel him in. I believe that is Eric Gonzalez in the 42, going to go around him on the outside line. And that battle for third place continues. Nicholas Johnston doggedly trying to get that inside line to work, but he has so far been unsuccessful in getting around Rodrigo Munoz.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a stock car race, I'd say, hey, you might want to run in the same line, bump him out of the way, but these are open wheel cars. You got to make the move as he's going to be at side by side. This might be the move. Time to make the move. I don't think he's got enough momentum entering this corner.
Liam Quinn on pit road. He had just gotten around Mike Hurley for 7th place. He now hits the pit lane, so he will be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. Now, he's a lap down, though, so I don't think that a lap down car coming to pit road is going to draw any of these top 5 to pit lane just yet.
I really don't see it. Nicholas Johnston almost got past Munoz, but then got crossed over. And this action still, they're still right on each other's bumpers. This is the closest action that we have on the race right now.
Definitely is. As Johnston, whoa, he had a nice exit that time out of turn 4, and this might be the chance for him to make the pass here in 1 and 2.
It's always the entry, but it's the exit that Munoz has. That's why he's able to play here coming off the corners.
And sooner or later, you kind of wonder just how much room Johnston is going to give Munoz when they come off a corner, because it almost seems like the only way he's going to take and make that inside line work is if he crowds the 0-9 up the racetrack when they come off of the corner.
As he is trying to push the 09 as high as he can, but still, it seems like whenever Johnston looks like he might have Munoz in the corner, Munoz comes off the corner with such great speed and momentum that he's able to pull away. And then Nicholas Johnston has to battle again, get side by side again, and then loses it. And it's just been a cycle all race long.
Well, that corner, he did not do what I've been seeing him do the last couple of corners. The last couple of turns, looks like that Johnston's changed his line a little bit. He was running about maybe a groove off the yellow line, which was kind of helping him. That time he was right down to the yellow and again gets to the left rear quarter panel of Munoz.
Trying just something a little different, but it doesn't look like it's working this time. As he's slowly losing time. I mean, not losing time, but just he's not getting the same closing speed as he once was.
If you're Johnston, you know you gotta kind of be careful here battling with Munoz, because the last thing you want to do when you are in position to leave Iowa with a top 5 finish coming in the points leader is to make a mistake, have the car spin out, maybe make contact with Munoz, spin into the inside wall, which we've seen the contact with Rex here tonight been violent and taking a lot of our top guns out of the race. You do not want to tear up that race car here with 40 laps to go.
As our leader is going to be crossing the line this time, 162 laps have been run. Around lap 175 is around the marker that we're going to be seeing all these drivers coming in. They might even come in a little bit sooner than that as well.
And right now, over 7 seconds, Brophy enjoys between himself and Matt Hollabaugh. Nicholas Johnston and Rodrigo Munoz, the battle we saw going on with them was taking place 10.5 seconds behind the race leader, Jason Brophy.
I just hopped on with Mike Hurley to check on how he's doing, and he just spun it around off of 4 again. Again off the course, on the infield, but it's not the day that Mike Hurley wanted to have.
Keeps it down to the inside. There's race leader Jason Brophy going around him on the outside line as Mike Hurley, after 2 spins, I almost wonder if it might be time for him to come to pit road, because I would have to think after 2 spins, those tires have got to be wearing down awfully, awfully badly.
Tires are worn, and also suspension damage is something to watch out for that machine. You know, with coming to the end of this green flag run, before we have to see green flag pit stops, Eric Gonzalez still on the lead lap, but if we go another couple of laps, it's going to be close if Gonzalez is going to be still on the lead lap at the end here.
Back here battling with Hugo Galez in the 55, who is a lap down. Just ahead of him is Liam Quinn, and actually here comes the 42 to pit road. So this is one of our lead lap cars hitting pit lane with 35 laps to go.
Going to be one of the first lead lap cars, so this could be a chance for him to gain time on cars around. And we'll have to wait and see when our leader decides to come in, as Brophy's still out there. Is Brophy going to try to lead every single lap and try to be the last car to pit? the wait and see. I think that might be in his strategy, is just to be the car that leads every single lap from start to finish, coast to coast. It could be in Brophy's mind.
Definitely could be. I mean, I think Brophy right now has got to be thinking back to Michigan, where he was in line to possibly win that race, got hooked off turn 2, went up and into the air, and ended up a wreck on the back straightaway. And obviously did not come home with the victory. Cowan Evans, actually, we should mention, also was on pit road, pitting from 6th. And Matt Hollabaugh, the runner-up driver, has now hit pit road.
Hollabaugh giving up 2nd. And now we have Nicholas Johnston, who did get by Munoz during the time that we were talking about pit road strategies.
Well, with the pace that Brophy's been putting on, it was about 8 seconds between himself and Hollabaugh before Hollabaugh peeled off onto pit lane. I don't see how even fresh tires are going to cut down 8 seconds.
I mean, here's the craziest thing, right? Brophy's fastest lap that he just ran this race is a 17.0. Our second place runner and cars that really have been up front, Matt Hollabaugh, who was in 2nd place, his fastest was a 17.2. 2/10 faster is our leader to the next fastest car.
Nicholas Johnston to pit road. So that leaves 2 of our lead lap cars that are still to pit. Race leader Jason Brophy and 2nd place Rodrigo Munoz.
Munoz into the pits.
So Brophy's the last one. Everybody here that was 2nd back through 5th trying to leapfrog the leader, try and gain some time here
And
with early pit stops. And does this force the hand?
Coming in. Brophy slowing it up, going to be pulling it in. Took it as slow and gently as he could with the huge lead that he has on everyone else. He can do that.
So as Brophy pits, the question is, what is the gap going to be between himself and Matt Hollabaugh? Hollabaugh right now still has to go around and unlap himself, as looks like he will cycle into the 2nd position. Nicholas Johnston looks like he's going to be 3rd, and it may be close for 4th. Eric Gonzalez may actually get 4th from Rodrigo Munoz after these pit stop cycles.
Yeah, Gonzalez actually coming in first, getting the pits. It's helped him out immensely as he is now right on the back bumper, only a couple of car lengths away from 3rd place, Nicholas Johnston.
Brophy leaves pit road. And obviously, he has got to get up to speed. We'll see what the interval is. It's now getting less than 5 seconds. Hits the line. It's less than 4 seconds. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere in the vicinity of 2 to 2.5 seconds for Hollabaugh to reel him in. It's now increasing. It's going back up to 4 seconds. So he did gain time. He gained about maybe 3 or 4 seconds, did Hollabaugh, but not enough to be on the back bumper of that 88.
You gotta wonder if it would have been better.
We got a car that's facing the wrong way to the inside wall there on the back straightaway. I think that's the 33 of Hurley again.
Looking back, and yes, it was Hurley. Hurley somehow not causing a caution, but lost it again. Coming off of turn number 2, Hurley was coming out of the pits when he spun it around.
Hurley has spun 3 times, but it hasn't brought out the caution. Couple of things contributing to that. Number 1, his spins have taken place down off the racing surface, and number 2, we've only got 11 cars out there running in this race, and with the field so spread out, the likelihood of a caution coming out is a lot slimmer than if everybody were all running up together in a pack.
Gotta wonder what happened to Roberto Munoz, who was up to 3rd and now has dropped all the way back to 5th. Yes, I thought it was because of pit road issues, but at the same time, he has lost a ton of time just to Johnston when they were only about a half second off one another when they initially came into the pits.
Well, I think if we look in terms of the intervals of the amount of time they spent on pit lane and their pit stops, Gonzalez pit crew, 7.8 second pit stop. Rodrigo Munoz, 7.7. So they pretty much equaled out. But if you look in the terms of time they spent on pit lane, Rodrigo Munoz was on pit lane for 35.7 seconds, Gonzalez 34.8. So Eric Gonzalez, I think, attacked pit road a lot better than Rodrigo Munoz did. That's how he was able to inherit 4th place.
As we are at 20 laps to go with the rest of this race. I mean, it's all been Jason Brophy. He's been up front leading every single lap. And we talked about it during broadcast. I think he just had a feeling this was his race.
He's about to pass Liam Quinn, who after the pit stops was able to move up to 6th. He's about to fall 2 laps down to Brophy, but consider the fact that both Liam Quinn and Andrew Wood, who came in tied for 2nd in the points, encountered some struggles here tonight. Liam Quinn has done a tremendous job in kind of combating that and coming away with a decent 6th place run. Going to position him 2nd in the points going into Las Vegas. And even Andrew Wood, I know Andrew Wood struggled tonight and he's currently running 10 laps down. You see him right there having to give way to leader Brophy, but in what could have been a DNF for the 32 car, going to be bringing it home in the 11th position. So a great run for him. But again, those great runs, they pale in the comparison that Nicholas Johnston, the guy they're trying to run down for the points lead, is currently up in the podium in 3rd place.
Yeah, and he could be going for
Did we just have a spin? I think we had a spin. Oh, no, we didn't. I'm sorry. I thought we had a spin, but it was actually the 69 coming to pit road. Sorry.
It looked like Johnston has the faster car than Matt Hollabaugh right now. Johnston's been gaining on him, gained almost a half a second in the last 3 laps. So it might not be enough time at this moment, but Johnston's running just as fast or was running even faster than Matt Hollabaugh.
Yeah, that last time by about 2 100ths faster was Johnston. We'll see about this time around. Oh, wow. Big difference. Matt Hollabaugh about an 18.0, Johnston a 17.6. And you can see they're in the same camera shot. There's only maybe about 10, 12 car length separation between those two. So to your point, with 13 laps to go, now 12, we could end up having a battle for 2nd place brewing here.
I mean, I think it might have been due to the fact that there was a lap car in front of Matt Hollabaugh, but it's the same time, it's getting close, as it was almost less than a second when we looked at the intervals.
And just to give you an idea, too, the lap times Nicholas Johnston is running, he was running lap times faster than leader Jason Brophy, so it's no wonder he's reeling in that 0-2 machine, and of course he's realizing that every position being a point, he'd love to pick up one more here in the closing stages of this race at Iowa.
Speaking of Jason Brophy, I think he might be going for the challenge of lapping everyone on the course, because he is ran down 5th place, Roberto Munoz, and he is right behind him, trying to lap down almost every single machine out here. He's going for 5th.
He might need to be careful here as he's going to try and sneak his way around Mike Hurley, because Hurley has spun out 3 times here on this green flag run. None of his spins have brought out a caution, though, as they both make their way around Andrew Wood, and now Brophy goes to the inside of Hurley. And as you said, just about maybe 6 car lengths up ahead there is Rodrigo Munoz.
And then in front of Munoz, it's about a straightaway where you see Eric Gonzalez. So we're not expecting Brophy to lap everyone on the course, but he could be trying to at least lap down Roberto Munoz. Munoz getting a top 5 finish. Great day for him. It could have been better. There was just, I think it might have gotten loose, lost some time on the cars in front of him, and he dropped from 3rd all the way back to 5th. Luckily, that's only as far as he dropped back.
What a night it has been for Jason Brophy, though, trying to become another different winner here in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. He was 2nd in practice, got the pole in qualifying, and so far has led every single lap here tonight. He's got 6 more circuits to make and will have dominated this race, leading all 200 at the Iowa Speedway.
I mean, Brophy, he's watched so many competitors around him spinning out just because of the slickness of their cars, spinning off of turn 2, off of turn 4, but he has been up front, staying in 1st. And I got to give it up to Matt Hollabaugh, who started 2nd and is also running in 2nd. He had a clean race today. And everyone behind them, they had to battle their way through so much adversity, as Nicholas Johnston started 14th, up to 3rd. Eric Gonzalez started 17th, up to 4th. It's just been a great day for those machines, getting up to the top 4. And then you got Roberto Munoz, who started 7th and got up to 5th. So all positive gains for all these guys.
And also give a shout out there to Jake Gaudet, as he's in the 8th position. We saw him have a little bit of an issue trying to come to pit road, but an 8th place run when you make your first start of the season at a tough track like Iowa, that's got to be a pretty good feeling for someone making their debut.
It really does, as we've got 2 laps to go for our leader, Jason Brophy, and there is not much around him. He's by himself, and he's been looking like no one could really touch him all race long.
Out of turns 3 and 4, he'll see the white flag. He's just got to make 4 more corners, and he will be taking the checkered flag. And when he takes the checkered flag, the COVID-19 relief fund will be $400 richer. $200 donated by Fuel, $200 donated by the race winner. Jason Brophy dominates tonight at Iowa.
Coast to coast finish, led every single lap. He pushed his car to the limit, and no one really was even close to him, as his best time was so much faster than everyone else. I think the one car that could have a chance to challenge that 88 machine spun out back around lap 100, and that was Will Roberts. But Will Roberts did not finish this race, but man, what a run for this 88 machine.
Absolutely incredible. And to your point, a lot of our front runners got out of shape, spun, had issues in terms of grip, but Jason Brophy's car looked like it was wound up and ready to go. I don't think he put a wheel out of line this entire 200 lap event.
And honestly, this win and running all those laps, it goes all to a great cause, trying to help the relief funds for the COVID pandemic that's going on right now. So thank you for everyone that's going to be donating for this. And Jason Brophy with this win, I think it's going to be a total of $400 going to that relief fund just based off of this race and how many laps he led.
And how about this for a victory lap? Going to run the infield Iowa road course here. As looks like he's now going to go out and do a Polish victory lap here for the Iowa fans. Taking the checkers here tonight in the Corn 200. And as he does his victory lap, let's take a look at the full finishing results here. And I mean, obviously, we documented a lot of drivers coming back from adversity, but really, if you think about it, the 3 mainstays up there in the top 5 all night, Brophy, Hollibaugh, and Johnston, and they all finish on the podium.
Yep, I got to say, Liam Quinn did a great job. Out of all the cars that were lapped down, he was able to get 6th. Cowan Evans in 7th had an amazing day for himself. Yeah, it wasn't the finish he wanted, but started 21st, got up to 7th. What a great run for Cowan Evans.
And how about Mike Hurley? We saw that car spun around 3 times there on that last green flag run. And even though he finished 5 laps down, he still brings that machine home in the top 10 and 9th.
Hugo Galla's going to get that 10th finish.
And then you look down through the rest, and Andrew Wood was the last car to finish this race running. He'll finish in 11th, and then everybody else finished behind the wall after, I think it was 3 cautions in this race. Byron Daly, Will Roberts from 2nd and 4th at the time on the restart out of the race. Justin Miller, Philip Radijic, Evan Adams, Riley Thompson had early issues. Kite Bommersbach, those are 2 guys that came in top 5 in points. Brent Jones, Ryan Heater, and then the rest of the field. Chad Frankenfield, Danny Roberts, and Richard Nash. And we can definitely say a typical short track because it took more drivers out than we had finish.
Yeah, I mean, that's what short track racing is going to do. And after seeing our results, we've got some cars ready for some interviews.
All right, so let's kick things off here and bring in our 3rd place finisher. And that would be the points leader, Nicholas Johnston. Hey, Nick, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yeah, 10-4.
Well, my goodness. I mean, a lot of drivers up there inside the top 5 having issues with grip and everything here tonight, but your car looked pretty stout. Saw you making some passes there on that inside line. Talk about that race overall for you in terms of, the issues drivers were having in terms of grip, and did you experience that at all?
Yeah, well, like I said to you guys a couple weeks ago, after Road America, that I was going to go in here and just try to survive, try to pick my way up to a top 5, and we did that today with the P3. Show Volvo was great today, and it was really difficult out there. Passing was very, very difficult because you could run the high line easily and hold people off. So really, you had the first 4 to 5 laps after a restart, and then if you didn't get by there, you were waiting at least 20 to 25, maybe even more, until if you saved your tires better than guys in front of you, then you could drive by them. But that was my biggest problem getting that pass there for third towards the later stages of the race. I just couldn't quite get enough to clear him, and eventually I was able to just keep working at it, keep working at it, keep working at it. And eventually made, I think, just one or two little mistakes in turns 1 and 2 to where I got a better run and was able to take that spot. But for the most part, it was all about being aggressive on the starts and track position.
You talk about being aggressive on the starts, and we saw on one of those restarts, second place driver Will Roberts spin out. He collected Byron Daly, but you were right there in the vicinity as well. So did your heart rate spike up there when you saw the 39 spun sideways in front of you?
No, I pretty much have ice in my veins, but that was pretty unfortunate for Will. He was having a really good race, and it sucks to see. The short ovals he's really dominant at. He does really well, and that's probably his best shot to get victories. So to see him running well and have that happen to him was really unfortunate. I was a little bit numb to it because on the initial start, the driver that started ninth, I believe, got sideways the exact same way on the first start of the race. So I kind of knew the bottom side was a little sketchy on restarts. And when I saw Will go down there and get sideways, we're going so fast at that point, you just got to point and shoot and hope they're not there when you get there.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we were watching your battle with Munoz and how hard it was for you to pass. But once you got past him and after the pit stop, it looked like you were starting to catch Matt Hollabaugh. What were your thoughts when you were starting to gain on the O2?
I was just thinking, hopefully, I can get close enough by the end of this to try to make something happen. I was perfectly happy with third, and I was running him down a lot there after that last pit stop. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I was thinking maybe since we only take so little fuel that he somehow decided to not take tires, but in the end, once I got close enough, he turned the wick up, and that was pretty much it. I wasn't gonna be able to get um, close enough to make a move in that stage of the tires. I would have to wait until tire wear came in, and by then the race was over. So unfortunately, I'm just settled for third, but also fortunately, some of the other drivers I'm battling for the championship did not have great nights, and we'll just take this week as it is and move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we had that stretch of road course races where you went 3 for 3. Now we've got a whole bunch of speedways coming up. We got Las Vegas. We've got Indianapolis coming up. Of course, we've got the Indianapolis road course in between there. But with this stretch of speedways coming up, are there any other tracks you're looking at that are kind of survival tracks? Or now are there tracks we're going to that you kind of think you can go into attack mode, especially now we're heading into double points territory?
Basically, if I'm only designed to turn left on that track, it's dangerous for me because things happen so fast, and wrecks can happen in an instant, and I'm not quite fast enough to be out of the mess of the midfield. So I just really need to keep my nose clean, be smart. I mean, like tonight was 200 laps. I didn't really push very hard at all. I just wanted to make sure that I was there at the end, and that's what we were. And hopefully, we can take that mindset, move forward into Vegas, and I mean, Indy 500, I might have to try a little bit harder for that one just because of the prestige of the event. But for the most part, I just need to play it smart and play to my strong suits.
Well, hey, survival and consistency, those are two keys with the type of points format this series has to be able to win a championship. So, you did it here tonight, and we'll see if you can continue it the rest of the season. But for now, anybody that you would like to shout out?
Really, just you guys for doing the broadcasting. Hopefully, some parts of the race there were exciting. I know a lot of the times people get strung out on races like these and gets a little hard to find things to say. But hopefully, it was exciting for you guys. Thank you for doing this. Fuel for putting on the league. Definitely Mitch Welker on the box tonight did a number in helping out with fuel, making sure that I knew when to pit, especially on that green flag stop at the end. If we didn't pit when we did, we were going to get undercut by Gonzalez, and I don't think that was going to be a good outcome for me. So thank you to him and the entire P2 team. Unfortunately, no one else had a really good night other than myself. So hopefully we'll pick it back up next time and be back towards the front.
All right, that's Nicholas Johnston. Brings it home P3 here tonight. Continues to lead the points. Good luck going into next week at Las Vegas.
Thank you, sir. Viva Las Vegas.
And let's get our runner-up finisher, Matt Hollabaugh. Hey, Matt, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you ran around third for a good portion of that race, and then all of a sudden, after that wreck that brought out the third caution, you found yourself up in second. Did you have anything for the 88 car? Was there anything you could have done differently to gain some track position on him?
To tell the truth, I really don't think so. Brophy is probably one of the best in the whole world on the sim at Iowa Speedway. Like there's a reason why he has as many strength of field fixed wins here that he does in a row. Like this dude is unstoppable. I was spending the whole race pretty much just trying to save the tires because that tire wear, man, that tire wear was crazy. I was losing like a second a lap at the end of that last run in the cold. Like it was crazy. But I didn't really have anything for him, and I didn't really have anything for Will either up until that restart crash.
Yeah, we actually saw everyone cycle around with green flag pit stops near the end, but around the halfway point of the race, we saw drivers starting to make some green flag pit stops, but the timing of a caution trapped them a lap down. Fortunately for you, you were staying out there, but how close were you of deciding to maybe come to pit road, and how close would you have been to maybe being one of those guys that got trapped -1?
So for that first yellow during the run, like late in the run, that trapped everyone down, I was about 5 laps away from pitting. I didn't have the fuel to go much further than that. I was just focusing on saving tires and fuel, trying to stay out as long as I could for the whole race, just in case a yellow came out and potentially I could trap a bunch of cars a lap down or worse.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, it seemed like this race you just were consistently running and trying to survive. Thoughts for next week's race at Vegas?
I will say that Vegas is one of my favorite IndyCar ovals. I haven't practiced it with an aero screen style setup yet, so it's going to be interesting how it handles with that. But I know that before the aero screen, tire wear was a huge thing at Vegas, especially in hotter weather. I don't know the time of day that we're running Vegas at, but it's Vegas is a good track for these cars. It's a shame what happened there in real life 9 years ago, but on the sim, it is one of the best tracks for this car on iRacing.
Well, obviously, a tremendous run for you here tonight, finishing second. Hopefully, this can give you some good momentum going into the next couple of weeks, as we've got quite a number of speedways coming up on the remainder of the schedule. But for now, we're going to let you do some shout-outs.
Shout outs to my parents for giving me a place to live. Hi, Mom. I don't know if you're actually watching, but if you are, hi, Mom. Shout out to the Thrustmaster for making a good wheel, Fanatec for the nice pedals, Jason Brophy and Eric Gonzalez that were in that race for just kind of keeping me sane over voice chat. We were all on the team together, so we were just talking strategy and helping Eric try and get back to the lead lap at the end of that thing. Just all of my Twitch followers, by the way, if they're watching this on twitch.tv/sideslick1024. I'm streaming live right now, by the way. You might be able to see me if you do that. But that's about it.
All right, that's Matt Hollabaugh. Brings it home runner-up here tonight at Iowa. Congrats on your finish, and looking forward to maybe talking to you next week.
Cool. I'll try to be there.
And, of course, for those wondering of him talking about what happened in real life at Las Vegas 9 years ago, that was, of course, when the racing world lost Dan Weldon in 2011. But let's now bring in our race winner, Jason Brophy. Jason, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Probably the only guy in the field that didn't need to have rear view mirrors here tonight. I mean, you absolutely dominated here this evening. Talk about that entire 200 laps from the cockpit.
It's nice when, you don't have anything out in front of you to worry about. We'll put some pretty good pressure on there early, and I think he lost some time in the kind of the cycle of traffic, but he was pretty close. I was a little worried, if I ever let him get close enough on a restart. He managed to pin me down, then it would have been difficult. Then he had the issue on the restart, and that was kind of when I knew that as long as I don't mess up or blink out or anything like that, I should be able to hold it. I love Iowa a lot, so that's why that charity challenge on this race. So it was a pretty good race for charity.
Definitely was. Our projections, we believe you led all 200 laps. That's $400 that's going to the COVID-19 relief fund. But, One thing that we saw too was a lot of drivers struggle early on the fresh tires. A lot of drivers were spinning off of the corner, but your car looked pretty stout. Didn't look like you put a wheel wrong all night long. Did you at any point experience the car feeling like it wanted to come around on you, or was it pretty much under you the entire 200 laps?
I think actually the lap that when going into one there, when Will spun, I felt it, the bend free. I was aware of it. I didn't expect it to necessarily happen there, but I made it easy on entry, and that's why, for the most part in the restart starts, I never really tried to run the bottom in turn 1 and 2, just because I was afraid of that. And that's the first time I actually went down there, and it felt a little free. At the beginning too, it just felt slidey. Felt like the back end go a little further than the front. A bit easy. I and forth. Otherwise, no, not particularly. I have run a lot of laps at Iowa over the years. So
Yeah, I mean, Jason, it looked like your strategy for the pits was just to push it as far as you can, to lead every lap you can. Was that really your strategy, or was there something else there?
on with a big enough lead, 8 seconds. As long as everybody else that was on the lead lap had pit, I was pretty safe. I waited until Rodrigo said he was pitting, made sure he pit up laps, right? More sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you did lead all 200 laps, and so pretty cool that Fuel put on the whole charity thing, and then you said that you would match it. Great night for charity, and we're now going to let you do some shout outs.
Thank Will for that. Got a little for him, but I a lot. He knows a lot for run it since I joined the league. Yeah, and Evan, and for being the admin, I should probably shout out him too.
Well,
And you guys.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. 8 races here so far this season, and we've now had a total of this is now 6 drivers that have gone to victory lane. Congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what you can do when we go to some more speedways. We got Las Vegas coming up next week.
Yeah, I think this is 3 oval races I've run. I think I've led the most laps, and at least at Michigan I know I did at Homestead, but this is the first one I've actually finished out, so that's nice.
Absolutely. Well, that's Jason Brophy. He goes coast to coast here tonight, leads all 200 laps at Iowa. Congrats. Go enjoy your win. And that is going to conclude our coverage here tonight for the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar series. And, typical Iowa, a short track, not a whole lot of grip. We saw a lot of drivers slipping and sliding and struggling, but boy, Jason Brophy had this place figured out.
Yeah, I mean, he showed off his speed and how he was the dominant car from start to finish. I think Matt Hollabaugh really pointed it out that he is one of the kings here at Iowa on the sim racing world, and just flexing his muscles on us tonight.
So with Brophy taking the checkered flag here this evening, it will be interesting to see if he in any way might be able to cut into that points lead that Nicholas Johnston has. But with Johnston finishing third, he's making it awfully tough on the rest of his competition. But as we've stated, next week we are going to be at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the last mile-and-a-half track we were at. We saw that fuel strategy win by Liam Quinn, so will we see a fuel strategy race next week? We're going to have to wait and find out. But thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday evening. For Sam Dyer, I'm Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast here on the Flatout Racing Network.